Alrighty, John. So we have now your spawn getting ready to be set up. I have for you already this. So your history is going to be a start or a mix of a couple of your old lifetimes, so that we can like solidify and unify all of these characters into one kind of being that you can continue. Okay.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense now.
Okay. So I'm completely removing the Soul Rose character out of your identity. She's just gone. This was a lot of your combat statage, which was more or less given to you from Soul Rose. So she's just gone. We're gonna try to re-amplify the effects of your previous Prophet character. So the very origin one, the one with the Terra, is gonna come into play, and then the most recent lifetime with your Archmage Tower, we're gonna be using as the main reference point, since the previous Archmage or Mage Tower iterations I no longer remember really. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you were born to the tower, just like before.
Like born in the tower?
No, to the tower.
Or
So like you were sent there at a very early age.
oh, the mage tower.
You were a very successful initiate, a prodigy amongst many of your peers. You even excelled just like previous to where you were like an upperclassman classes very early on. You had a lot of opportunities to become an archmage through your studies, through your development of your magics, your magical fields, mostly your technical knowledge. You heavily adapted into becoming skilled with mechanical, the new age mechanical or machinery skills like engineering, as well as using your magic. Not necessarily in practice, so you weren't good at like casting fireball, but you were good at combining these techs in order to create like different mechanical parts using magic as its fuel, that kind of thing. You did do the combined efforts with the doctor students as well. You ended up giving them too much credit and they used it against you and kicked you out of the mage tower, just like before, denying you your archmage title that you almost certainly would have had. When this happened, you initially got outposted into the Shadowlands, and on your venture around in the Shadowlands, just trying to figure out how you're going to deal with all the lack of resources that you were now denied, you ended up meeting Xavier. We don't know Xavier's character name yet. He tells you of a land in the desert that potentially holds great artifacts, including the Terra. So with this news, you two take traveling onto a ship and end up in Pirtal, which is the desert region.
Very tall.
At Pirtal, you become very quickly discovered by the White Scorpion group, and you and X ultimately try to ignore them as you might have normally done. They more or less pursue you, realize what you're trying to get yourself into, and you notice that a lot of the like different parts of the Terra is very complex technical magics, which a lot of people don't actually have knowledge over, but you do because you're a very technical mage, right? So you end up realizing not only how to identify one, but then how to source it. So how to identify where it's at, get to it, and you even start
Yeah, how
to
to power it.
yeah, and you start to figure out how to connect it or reconnect its ley lines and begin to power it. Well, the White Scorpions were launching an attack, and you and Xavier, in a panic, tried to go ahead and use the Terra's own power in order to repel them, which you successfully reworked and did. But then after which, the major crystals were no longer able to power up the other major functions that you would need to move the Terra. So when you resume, you're going to be resuming just after the massive repel and defeat of the White Scorpion initial force and the actual like conquering in quotes of the Terra. Is there anything that you wish to add to this history?
Uh,
I think you got more or less what's happening, right? I combined a bunch of different little lifetimes.
yeah.
Oh, and to be clear, you left the Mage Tower more or less at age 9 or 14, somewhere around there. 9 to 14, kind of indiscriminately. We were going to include that lifetime being also part of the Shadowlands, and then the rest of the time you were here in the Pirtal region. So you're now 19.
Shit. Okay.
So you spent a lot of time out here, like rediscovering how to find this Terra, more or less, learning the different uses of underlaying ley lines and things like that.
Can I like ask for like certain things that like maybe that was in the previous lifetime for this because I rolled really well. Like, there's some things that I rolled excellently on last character that we're kind of rebuilding this character, and it's completely different now.
What do you mean
Um,
you rolled really well? What are you talking about?
remember the essence batteries that I rolled like
Oh yeah,
extreme?
you know how to do that.
I know how to do that. Okay.
Yeah, we're including that in this history. But yeah, you were able to take apart certain artifacts. We're going to consider them artifacts that the Mage Tower has managed to collect, and using those objects, which we now know as Eratus, you were able to recreate your own form of machine batteries, which are able to hold different core energies, as you know.
Yeah. Do I know if that's going to be enough to be able to get the para up off the land if I was to connect
Your little
those?
batteries? No, not even close.
Little bit. You told
No,
me they were big before, but I'm assuming the power consumption is like ridiculous, right? For the Terra.
they're like I mean they're not huge. They're just little batteries. They're able to hold different sources and maybe cast like a single spell, assuming that you wanted to do that. That's not really their primary use. Those Terras are like thousands upon thousands of Sarens worth of power.
Gotcha. So I can't even source it.
Right. You would die trying to source this Terra. Yeah, that's not a real. What you just suggested wasn't even close. Yeah.
Okay, because like last time I remember being told how big these essence batteries were. It was like ridiculous. So I was just wondering about that.
No, the essence batteries are not ridiculously big. They'd be like maybe a quarter or half if you're lucky. You might have had one that was like like an extra large container or something, but that thing would also be extra large in real life, right? You'd be like holding a like a like a little engine. You know how big engines are,
um,
right? So it's,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, do I? So let me ask you this: like before the White Scorpions attacked, I had plenty of time to like go around the Terra and get used to it and understand the layout of the whole entire thing,
Yeah,
right?
you made several trips more or less, and they picked up on the fact that you had found what you were looking for. So their small little like scouting band went to attack you or to capture you because presumably you're an easy thing to capture, right? You're just a non-combative Saren, and then X is presumably non-combative charisma guy. So they didn't send like much at you, but you went ahead and did the full repulse, which took them off guard, obviously blasting them away. But that won't stay forever, right? The assumption is that they will eventually come back. Not those guys that you specifically blew away; those are probably dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're either dead or buried right now and suffocating on the sand.
Yeah.
So technically, we have a little time before Wave 2 comes, is why I'm double checking here, right?
Yeah, you would surmise that you have quite a bit of time, but not enough time for those batteries to recharge, assuming that they
Um,
recharge, which you think they do.
is there a generator on this?
No,
Uh,
not that you've seen. The closest city that you guys have been using as a mainstay is held by the Golden Empire. The Golden Empire being ruled by a race of avians. Yeah, they call themselves the Ra,
and they're the Golden Sun?
not the Golden Empire. Yeah, the Golden Sun Empire. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
I think the Golden Empire from old days was right. If
Either
you're
one. It doesn't matter. This is close
Empire,
enough. Huh?
it was the Golden Empire.
Yeah, it's close enough. Either one would work. Nobody would look down on you if you said one or the other.
Raw, as in like Pharaoh, raw
Hmm.
type stuff.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's a lot to take in. Um, with my technical knowledge, do I know of a way of connecting machinery directly to the ethereal plane for power?
What? Uh, give me a hot second. No.
Not even theoretically, like maybe this is possible?
You
Or
technically do if your batteries, right? Like this, the issue is that you don't just because you connect into there doesn't mean that it's like going to be accessible. So the Eratus tech can sometimes do it, but it's
I
not.
have
It's
time to
not.
tinker
Yeah,
that
it's
much.
well, no. Like the actual concept of just straight pulling power from there is a little weird. It's not. It's not accurate. You'd have to like source it to like a specific type of power to even begin doing it. Uh, and then like not all of that power is united. So it's kind of like dipping into wells,
And the water being either good quality, bad quality, or poisonous.
depending on what you're trying to do. Like it gets a little crazy, but as a general rule, no.
Okay, we'll mess with that some other time.
Mhm.
Can I tell that it's recharging right now?
No, the power is so huge, you just get like blared with all the power. If you get what I'm saying, or not blared, blurred.
Okay. Um, if I remember correctly from previous lifetimes, which I don't know if I should be or should not be doing this.
No, you should definitely pull from. Oh,
Okay,
assuming that you know it's accurate. Obviously, I'm not going to correct you if it's
yeah,
wrong.
there should be a control panel that displays all of the like power levels and certain things to turn on and off. So like the essence, I could see it recharging possibly from one of the meters on the what do you call it, control panel, and be able to direct the flow.
There was at one point, I think, something like you're describing. I have since split it off. It's no longer one like major control point. That being said, you can certainly find the information that you have sought out previous. So if you're like just manually taking your time to wander around this Terra to find the output reader and the power levels,
Yeah.
that's fine. You find that read. You can see that it's like almost all been used, so it's regenerating. But the power is of such quantities that it's still like in extreme excess to your own power.
So it still has a ton more power than I have, and it's regenerating.
Yeah, it is going up steadily, but there, the power that it needs to run the Terra is much greater than the power that it has. So you have no way of knowing. Well, I guess you could do the calculations. You go if you go ahead and do the math. We'll assume you have some
I'll do
papyrus.
that.
Alright. You figure out that it's probably going to be good to go in like 2 months, which is obviously a great amount of time.
So King of the Hill for 2 months. That is the first thing I'm gonna tell X. Hey, buddy, you ready to play King of the Hill?
You don't believe that you'll be able to take on the assault from the White Scorpions. You're not
They can't
combative.
fly, can they?
You said what?
They can't fly, right?
No, they. I mean, you don't know what they're capable of, but the assumption is that they don't fly. Yes.
Um, what type of barriers does this display?
Zero
On,
barriers.
I mean, on the Terra, it has barriers, right?
No,
What?
it doesn't even do the repulse thing. You like modified that on the fly.
Ah, shit. Okay. I'm proud of myself, I guess.
All the Terra is supposed to do is fly and generate the different environment on top of it.
What generating the power or the essence? Is it the crystal or something else?
You said what's what now?
What's generating the power? Is it or
The
the
outlying crown around the entire Terra is has several large crystalline structures built into it. They're all uniform and cut. Those are the holders of the power of the Terra and the generators, as far as you know.
and I remember from way, way, way back when just climbing up to like a third or a fourth of the height, like max height, you would be getting mana poisoning or essence poisoning just from doing that.
What?
Like I remember the scale of these crystals were fucking huge. Like if you got close to these crystals, you'd start getting mana poisoning.
Oh yeah, if you like walked up next to it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you fly up to it, I mean, they're fucking high up in the air. You have to like go out of your way to get next to one of these things. It is technically like giving off a form of radiation. The radiation self dismisses after a while, though. Like if it's flying around, it's not like raining down hell.
I was thinking of possibly modifying it so it would be able to just like rain essence and essence poison people that come by, but that would be a delayed effect, not a deal with combat effect. Do I think I can get these crystals to make a barrier to prevent anyone from getting on the Terra while it's recharging?
Um, you could attempt to, but it'd be a massive area to barrier. So it's gonna end up consuming a lot of energy, which would delay your actual launch, right?
When I am talking barrier, I mean like not a bubble or a sphere. I'm talking about like a semicircle all the way around at a certain height so they can't climb it.
You're directionally like you're creating like a quartile shield.
What do you mean by quartile?
If you imagine a circle split into four pieces, you're only burying like the northeast flank.
Trying to make a big Reinhardt shield, not a domed shield.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're only shielding one direction, like Reinhardt, right?
Yeah, but have multiples of those to make a full circle around me.
So you are doing a round shield.
I'm, when you say round, I keep thinking dome. I'm like, no, I don't want to make a dome because it's wasted material or wasted essence that could be
Okay,
used.
so to clarify, you're just trying to get rid of the sky reach. So like you're not worried about things coming from above.
Yeah, I'm not worried about things coming from above. I'm worried about things coming from ground.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it'd still be a massive fucking shield.
Yeah,
All right. Is it
I'm asking. I'm not actually doing this. I'm just like thinking, does this sound practical to also allow it to charge at the same time?
no, any form of use
You,
that's in that fucking huge continent-sized barrier is gonna it's gonna stall the fucking power.
yeah. Do I have a list of artifacts that I've found?
All right, so we're gonna say that you also found when you arrived at the deserts to do some of your initial research. You came across more or less a secret room that the ethereals made, and you found within this chamber the ethereal wrappings. Once you gained access to it, obviously, the ethereal wrappings, sword, and single gauntlet of desecration. That thing that you use to grab onto things and turn it into essence, right? You're not a skilled swordsman, to be clear. You just have this item. The ethereal wrappings do the whole guise thing, right?
Hmm.
Can make you look inhuman as well if you want it to. And on top of that stuff, you also have managed to find recently within one of the major rooms the actual location of the prophet's book. Whether or not you have it in your person or not just depends on whether or not you're a thief.
Wait, I know the location
Mhm.
book.
It is the ultimate belonging of the main pharaoh of the Golden Empire. So he has it as his like most prized possession in the library. Okay, we're gonna say that you have two Eratus batteries on you, and they're 1/4 of your essence. Obviously, they can be a different essence than you're currently sourcing, so make sure you mark them as what essence you have. Otherwise, they're presumed empty.
Two Eratus batteries, and they're supposed to be 1/4.
Yeah, of your total.
We'll just have a arcane for the first one.
Okay.
Or the second one. What type of magics did I dabble in?
We're presuming that you stayed primarily in arcane at the moment.
Would deep arcane be a separate one?
It would, yes.
All right.
You can't fill your core battery of deep arcane, just by the way.
Oh, that okay. That's what I was asking.
No, no, no. That yeah, it's too potent.
Huh.
Like I told you previously, arcane base arcane is more or less what people would have. If someone was born with deep arcane, the assumption is that they would literally die off of being suffocated from their own power.
Uh, Sucks to be them.
Yeah, it's very rare to actually like harness deep arcane. You need to be able to manufacture it out of your body, which is also incredibly strange. Like that's not something people can normally do.
Quick question about this. These batteries. Can people use them similar to like essence stones and pull power from them if they know how to flow essence?
Yeah, you can like open them and use the essence, kind of like stones. They're obviously not stone replacements, right? Because you can't necessarily use these for enchanting as easily.
Half debating on like having the other one filled with X's essence.
You don't know what X's essence is.
Uh, touche. Yeah, I was thinking he could have one battery, I can have the other.
I don't know if he'll agree to that, but we can use that as a stand-in. It's otherwise empty. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. What else?
That's it. You're not satisfied with spawning in with 4 relics?
No, I am satisfied. Just wondering what else is gonna happen here.
Greedy ass mother effer. All right, like I
All right,
said.
let me ask this: is the Naiad here?
Sorry,
The Naiad.
you're aware of the Naiad?
Yeah, from the original Prophet. Yes.
All right, well we can do that. All right, so you wander into towards like the center of the entire terra structure, and you end up seeing what looks like small wildlife creatures and a greenery that shouldn't exist underground. Um, and when you approach this large like well type area, you see this fluttering, very water-like naiad or very water-like humanoid, which reveals itself to be a naiad. As you approach, you can see that she is gorgeous in a very inhuman way. She almost cowers a little bit, and some of like the little bunnies and so on go to defend her. So they step in front of you, and she says, "Please, I just seek to be alone."
I'm sorry to disturb you. I mean you no harm.
Looking upon you, she realizes you must be the one that activated the stones.
Yes, I look around. Is there like a grass beneath me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I get myself to sit down and like kind of like a crisscross applesauce, Indian style, to make pleasantry talk.
Okay. See, as you
So
sit
that
down,
I'm not being violent or aggressive.
a particularly violent rabbit comes over and starts thumping around your area. But
I
it
like
doesn't do any damage.
I like lean back a little bit, like what should I do about this? I looked to her.
I don't think he's causing you any real harm. He's
I
just
mean, is there
aggressive.
any, is there anything I can do to reassure him? I'm not going to be aggressive.
Depends on how our conversation goes, I suppose.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about this place?
This is one of the Archon's great terras, the ones he used to form the world. And I was guarded here. I was supposed to take over the land and fill it full of life.
And then what happened?
Well, the people were not too kind to me, so I ended up retreating back to my original home. Nothing in this world is as planned, yet here I lie, and in my cavern, I can stay safe, so long as no one knows that I'm here. She looks to you.
Hey, I can keep this a secret between you and me.
You can tell that she's using some magic. She doesn't need to see. She doesn't seem to need to incant or anything in order to perform it, and she's reaching deep into your mind. Are you saying the truth, John? Will you reveal her location to others?
I will not.
Okay. Then you can feel her power quickly come through and then exit out of you. Um,
That's quite interesting.
and she and she seems relieved. The rabbit stops thumping at you.
Now, I'm going to let you know about the reasons why I activated those stones. There's a group out there called the White Scorpions. They caught wind that I found something that I was looking for, aka this Terra, this giant machine. And they originally tried to stage an attack. I modified the crystals in such a way to cause a repulse and knocked them away and thwarted their attack. Now, knowing them, there's going to be a whole bunch of them coming soon in a couple days or possibly. Michelle, how much time do I have approximately?
You have no idea. You don't even know that they will come. You just assume they will. This is like a very legendary group of like fighter assassins. So these people don't let people go very willingly or at all, as far as you know.
Yeah. This group is known to be very threatening, and they will not give up in a fight, and they will not let me go once they find out more about this. They know whatever this Terra is good. They don't know what it is. The
She sinks
crystals right
into her
now.
pool.
She speaks what?
She sinks into her pool. Still her head is popping out.
Crystals have about 2 months until they're fully charged to be able to get this Terra flying and out of the way. Um, since you live here, do you know of any way of charging up the crystals faster than 2 months so we can be on our way and out of here for protection? Because I'm not a fighter. I'm just pointing out. As you can see, I'm sitting down with you instead of, fighting.
Um, she
I'm a
she's seems intimidated by what you're saying and says, "I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do."
Are you able to pull on vast powers or vast amounts of essence?
She nods. But my power is not like the ones from the obelisks.
I put my hand on my chin and start thinking a bit. Do I think I could possibly like filter or convert the essence that she flows? Like
No, you'd have to change the core in its entirety. You figure that there might be a way for you to like, and you're not. Uh, John, are you evil or good? How do you
I'm
view
aiming to be
how do you view
good.
killing people?
This is not going to go well for the war, but good. Like it's not a good thing to do
Not a
unless you
good
have to,
thing, right?
unless you have to defend yourself.
Okay, then you don't think of the idea that I'm thinking.
Sacrificing creatures, yes, got you. I know.
You don't seem to come across a way to convert mass amounts of energy. It seems impossible.
Mm.
You only know how to do the if you remember the transition step. So in other words, you bring your all of your essence down as low as you can, and then you instant convert it the last bit to create the new essence core, and then you just have to like recoup, which that would also require recharging. So even if she had like a ridiculous amount and you were able to get her to down as close as possible and then switch, you would uh, she would still need to rejuvenate, which you imagine if it's enough to raise up the Terra, it's going to be the same issue.
Mm. Oh, I forgot to mention, my name is Everd.
Her name will be Elisha Vanilla Lilis. Okay, there we go. I like the extra L there. And yeah, I can.
Elisha.
Yeah, Naiads names are like long. Um, they're okay with being nicknamed though. So she's gonna ask you to call her Lilis. It's easier for the humans. And you see her retreat into the pool. The pool shimmers, and most of her critters run away. You can tell that she's not particularly happy with visitors.
um, I get up, brush myself off, and then wave to the pool, and then walk away and say, I'll catch you some other time."
So when you end up exiting this cavern again, you know that most people don't just like dungeon dive just a dungeon dive. So this area looks very like crafted, but also this area that she's in is like it's kind of like super dungeony. So it's like really deep, pretty out of the way. If people did come down here, they wouldn't expect to find anything. It would be like a geology guy, like exploring for the sake of finding new rocks.
Okay.
So you think that she's more or less safe. But if you remain here or actively build like a fortress or something that looks like it's not abandoned like the rest of this stuff, the white scorpions may be persuaded to explore further and then ultimately find her.
All right.
you guys have like the smallest of outposts up on the main floor. That's not enough to persuade them to go down into the deep caverns. Anything else that comes to your mind that you'd like to add before we end session? We do get that your character is a weaker character, right?
Kinda.
Okay, so like if you were to attempt to like lift a wagon up off the side of the road or something, you'd probably not be too keen at doing it or doing it for a very small amount of time.
So physical strength ass.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
You're also not particularly fast to act or anything like that. Like what you write well, but it took you a lot of time to write well. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that was an active thing that you had to try to do.
All right. So slow to react, physically weak. Weak.
Mm-hmm. But you're like an omega mind genius, and you have a lot
Um.
of wisdom and shit too. So obviously your character can reflect a lot of details back onto you.
So to anyone looking for a Saren, they'll just see me as a normal person unless I battle ready.
Or they can identify your equipment as Saren equipment, because obviously you're running around in like mage gear, but that that requires physical sight. So
Based on sensing.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, you're completely hidden to other Sarens.
here I look like a pathetic weak one.
No, no, people can tell when you're like a low threshold Saren. Like they can tell what quality of a Saren you are usually. Kind of like how normally you can tell how fucking huge these essence spires are, but they're so fucking strong that your precision tool isn't built to be that unprecise. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you're like really good at sensing minute details of essence, but this thing is so huge you've never like really trained sensing like large quantities of essence. So you know it's fucking huge, but you don't know how huge. Whereas if you like looked at an enchanted object, you could be like, oh, they used around this much essence.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense. Like, oh, that's your cap. Cool.
Yeah, like that magical tool can probably only do up to this level of power. Mm.
Good to know.
All right, we good?
I want to say that, but at the same time, I feel like I'm gonna remember something stupid.
All right. I mean, we'll just write it down and we'll do it for next session. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm up for that.
Peace out.